So David Selig is here. I guess you're a tax collector.
No, sir. I'm a tax practitioner.
Now, what's the difference?
Well, I represent individuals when they're in trouble with the government.
Isn't that a tax collector?
You know, a tax collector would work for the government to collect as much money as they conceivably
Don't be
could.
foolish. Nobody works in the government.
Okay.
So you work on our side then?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you try to save us money and
Yes, sir.
you get us ready for the grease.
Absolutely, and essentially the government tries to collect as much money as they legally can, not as much as they're legally entitled to. And what we do is we try to defend our clients to make sure they only pay what they're legally obligated to pay.
Do you know Steve Selig?
The name's very familiar.
Have you ever met before?
Not to my knowledge, sir.
Well, he's right here. Now, you know, Stephen here is, Steve Zellen is an accountant, a CPA. Which side are you on? Are you on the government side or his side?
I'm on his side.
Sir, I believe I made a mistake. This gentleman and I are in the same office building. I misunderstood the way you pronounced his last name.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sir.
I thought you didn't know that he was a singing CPA.
No, absolutely. I know him, and he just gave me one of his CDs.
Oh, yeah. Well, he does a lot of children's concerts. And I think also teaching, right? You're teaching.
That's right, yeah. I teach accounting at Long Island University. And because I'm a real CPA, I have a lot of credibility with my number songs, you know, 1, 2, 3.
So how do you two guys get along? That's what I was trying to figure out.
Well, I handle, you know, the everyday person and the small business, and this guy goes after the big fish. And maybe.
Well, I have to say, you don't have to be a big fish to get in trouble with the government. It can really happen to anybody. And the real issue is if an individual believes that they're being wrongly assessed a liability, or they took a position that they believed was correct, or their accountant believes was correct, and the government denies that position, then they have to be defended. So we actually work together. We're on the same side, but different stages of the process.
Now, Jim, did Zero Mostel have a tax problem?
You're throwing this to me?
Yeah, I just wonder, did he have a tax problem?
I think he had every problem in the world except a tax
Didn't
problem.
have that one, right?
But I think that David is right that a lot of the IRS go for the minnows rather than the big fish.
Sure.
Because they can't defend themselves as much as the corporations. And do you think the tax system is fair?
I do. I have to tell
then
you.
I have nothing else to say to you.
I know it's an unpopular position, but the Internal Revenue Code really is a fair system. The problem is it gets complicated, and frequently people see things in it that are just not applicable to them. We're seeing that with some celebrities now who are claiming to be farmers, and they're really taking advantage of the good people of Colorado. I don't believe the celebrities are really responsible for this as much as the people who are representing them. Like, for instance, if you have a person like Steve, he might say to an individual, "You're not entitled to that." And in response to this, they'll fire him and get some sycophant who will just be a yes man and say, "This is the way we want to go."
But if he's fired, he's got his guitar. He can play on top of Old Smoky right in Washington Square, and his life is wonderful.
You don't know what he plays.
Oh.
Steve, you want to do the tax song?
No, sure, Joey.
All right. Steve Zellen. Now, Stephen is a CPA. He's called the singing accountant, the singing CPA, and he has made up a tax song.
I was sitting in my office reading the taxation rules when a brand new client walked in, said he heard that I was cool. I'm a few years late in filing, Uncle Sam wants my ass. So I told him to sit down, we can fix this fast. He asked me how many returns I'd filed with my own hand, and I said, listen, I have filled out every form in this here land. Filled out every form, man, filled out every form, man. Before you were born, man, I've been well informed, man. Like a raging storm, man, filled out every form. Complied with Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Delaware, Florida, Colorado, Georgia, Massachusetts, Idaho, Michigan, New Mexico, Indiana, Louisiana, Minnesota, Ohio, Kansas, Mississippi, Oklahoma, and Alaska, Hawaii, New York, New Jersey, Kentucky, and Nebraska. Filled out every form, man. Filled out every form, man. Before you were born, man. I've been well informed, man. Like a raging storm, man. Filled out every form. And I've done Iowa, Connecticut, Illinois, North Dakota, South Dakota, Pennsylvania, Washington, and West Virginia, Maryland, both Carolinas, Maine, Maryland, and Tennessee, Texas, Oregon, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Missouri, Wyoming, South Wisconsin, Virginia, and Montana. I have filled out 4 states, including Nevada. Filled out every form, man. Filled out every form, man. Before you were born, man. I've been well informed, man. Like a raging storm, man. Filled out every form. If they want federal tax, state tax, city tax, gift tax, sales tax, use tax, estate tax, payroll tax, property tax, gas tax, Medicare, AMC, capital gains, transfer tax, and Social Security, luxury tax, sin tax, school tax, kitty tax, excise tax, franchise tax, workers' compensation tax, filled out every form, man. Filled out every form, man. Before you were born, man. I've been well informed, man. Like a raging storm, man. Filled out every form. Give me your W-2s, dividends, stock statements, pensions, mortgage statements, unemployment, self-employment stipends, travel, meals, entertainment, bankages, gratuities, dependent care, and your health care, and donations to charity, IRAs, real estate, and your 401k. Give me everything you have, and I'll make sure you don't pay. Filled out every form, man. Filled out every form, man. Before you were born, man. I've been well informed, man. Like a raging storm, man. Filled out every form. Filled out every form.
So David Selig gets up in the morning, goes to the office, and Steve sings that as you raise the flag.
Wonderful.
And ring the bell at the end of the day, which, Jim, you did that here at NASDAQ. Didn't you ring the bell?
I did. We rang the closing bell right over there. The president of NASDAQ came down, and they tell you you have 3 minutes to speak. Now you're speaking to the world. This goes all over the world. And I said, now you tell me as I walk in, couldn't I prepare a little bit to say to the world, you know? Vini et Vinci. I should have had that song. I would have sung that. That was delightful.
Thank you.
You're great. Steve is great, and I love him very much, and I'm glad you're working together. You guys have a firm together?
Or we have
No, sir, we actually work in the same building.
Oh, just in
We're
the building.
on separate floors.
But you don't own the building together?
No, sir, no.
And this is your busy season, isn't it?
Well, this is Steve's busy season.
Oh, yours will come later.
Ours is really when ever an individual either gets a notice
Right.
or someone shows up and knocks on their door
Does that happen?
regularly.
They knock on your
Most
door.
certainly,
But that's
or-
not the first thing. I mean, you get a letter first, right?
Most usually they do. It really
Usually,
depends on the
God.
facts and circumstances. We're seeing a lot more field visits where they'll leave a calling card asking for the individual to call back, and that is very disquieting for most people.
So when do we see your work? Is it on a website?
Well, sure. We have a website called TrueTaxHelp.com.
TrueTaxHelp.com.
That's correct. Anyone who wants to come on and see what we do and various things, we invite them to do so.
And Stephen Zellen.
Is thesingingcpa.com.
All right. Well, thanks for being here tonight. I
It's great to
appreciate
see
the
you,
songs.
Joey.
We're gonna need you to write one about the show.
That's right.
Thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure. by
You're
the way.
welcome. You guys are great. We're gonna be right back. Let's take a little break. I don't want them to know that I cheated on my taxes.